we're giving a round of applause to a new work week.
Yes, it's Monday.
So excited. Can you deal with that? We're going to.
Wait, did you do the guns? The fingers?
Guns up?
I did the guns and the chainsaw.
Yeah. Again, things started, yeah.
Oh, that is so good.
Remember
Welcome.
you have to do that with the lawnmower?
Throw up the graphic. No, it's not time yet. All right, welcome to the Today in AZ After Show. This morning, we are talking about allowances. Now, while only one of the three of us has kids, we're talking about whether or not you got it, you didn't get it. Some of us got
Just in case you
Our
were.
parents were a little inconsistent, but kids apparently got a raise in their allowances in 2018. A survey of more than 30,000 kids between 4 and 14 years old found that they got about $9 a week. Researchers say nearly, are you comfortable yet?
Sorry.
Okay, it's good for the lumbar, right?
There we go.
Okay.
There we go.
Those places always have those weird names. Back in business.
Lumbar.
No, this one's called the lumbar yard. All right.
Back on track.
70% of parents choose to give their kids a regular allowance. This morning, we want to hear from you. Should kids get an allowance? We had a ton of people weigh in during the actual newscast, but now we want to hear from you in the comment section of the Facebook Live.
So we do have a few people chiming in. So it says, Tony said someone needs to clean the toilet. Okay, so make his kids do that. Let's see. Mark said yes, they start to learn about money, savings, and budgeting.
Okay.
Okay, so that's good. Todd said I received an allowance when little, but I had many chores before receiving it.
Ours was inconsistent. So my family had a system where each of us 4 kids had a jar, and we had a certain amount of quarters in each of our jars, and then our parents had one. Every time we were to misbehave, say a curse word, maybe, punch a sibling or something, dead arm, dead leg, or refuse to do chores or something, you would have to take a quarter out of your jar and put it into the parents' jar. And then at the end of the week, whichever child still had the most quarters got the whole pot.
Really?
So it could get up to $10-15.
That's a lot of quarters.
And good incentive to be nice to your siblings.
Right.
I don't think
I like it. It sounds complicated, but I like it.
It's not. And mom and dad get to decide what's appropriate and inappropriate as far as behavior goes. So it wasn't necessarily about chores or money, but about being good kids and
that's great.
keeping the steam off of them to punish us.
We had a mixture with my family. Obviously, it was just me, but also my cousin would stay the night a lot too. So she would get included in this. But so every Saturday we had to do chores, and so until we were done completing those chores, we weren't allowed to go do other activities. So it's like, okay, once you get your chores done, then you can go and do roller skating or whatever it is.
Some activity that you wanted to do.
Yeah, and so then I texted my mom earlier. I was like, I don't remember. Did I receive money for doing my chores? And she said, yes, sometimes I did. And then I think as I got older, they gave me chore money. Yeah. Okay. And then when I was little, though, she said I would just do the chores to help out.
We had a lot of people weigh in through our Zip Whip app where you text Team 12. And we had Randy and Mesa say, clean the house is part of living there. Like I said, you're living rent free for about 18 years if you play your cards right, which is pretty convenient. He said, earn money for good grades. We get paid for working, and they'll learn that the more they work at good grades, the more they can make. So it's a good real-world lesson that he says is good.
I also believe that every kid, though, is completely different.
Yeah,
every kid. Sometimes you could come up with the craziest scheme, and one kid, it's amazing.
They're all for it.
And they do great, and they learn from it, and the other kid's just, this is dumb.
And a testament to that is like the gold star thing. You could get gold stickers or something. So not everybody is motivated by money. So you just kind of have to see what works for each child.
So Penny said she agrees. Susie said it's nice to teach kids how to save money to get things they want, teach them the value of money. Monique Bond said, we had chores, no allowance, but we didn't go without, gave accordingly, good grades and good behavior was always rewarded. So that's good. Okay.
Something that the parents can get in on with the grandparents too, because our grandparents gave us money for good grades, which is great. I mean, work hard in school, do your homework. I mean, focus on that. Sierra in Avondale said earlier today, she said, my daughter gets $10 a month and she's saving her allowance for a digital camera.
Okay.
So see if they want to get those bigger things versus just,
Well, Melanie, she does. She said she pays her kid $20 a week to do chores. That's a good
20
amount.
bucks-
How old's your
20
kid,
bucks is
Melanie?
good.
How old's your child? Let us know.
I'll help out.
20 bucks is
a week.
solid. Yeah,
not
that's pretty good. I mean,
That's a
where
good
else?
one.
We got money for like birthdays and Christmas, and you had to save that money. You weren't getting an income every week. We don't even get that as adults. We don't get paid every week.
I think what's really important though here, the main theme that it's so hard as a parent, because I've been a parent, is just to make your kid work.
Right.
Whether you pay him or not, that's up to you. Or is your philosophy? You got to make them work. You got to make them do chores, and you have to be really consistent, which I was not 100% because it's really hard to do. It's easier to stick your kid, give them a tablet, let them sit on the couch, and you clean the house because you can do it your way, or you can, get on with whatever you need to do. But that doesn't help the kid out.
Well,
you need to make the kid work his or her butt off. And you hear it, like my parents were very successful, and what are their stories? Oh, we used to take the cows out before school, We had to go to the chicken coop and grab eggs for breakfast. And we did this before the sun came up,
Well, and forget about household chores inside. I mean, we had to mow the yard and weed eat, which was horrible. Oh my gosh, those shards of grass would kick up on your ankles, and it would be the worst.
I didn't have to do
mow
that
the yard,
That's
pick up
awesome.
dog poop.
Both of you, your parents did something right, and mine too. I mean, they made me work. I had to work, and it's so important. If your kid, regardless of whether they go to college or not, if they don't learn how to work, they're never going to be successful in life. They will never be successful.
That's true. And someone brought that up earlier when we were talking about it this morning, that they're like, well, if you pay them to do chores, they're not going to clean their house when they're adults. But that's not true. You just know that's what you do. Once you purchase a home or once you move out on your own, you're expected to take care of your home.
I'll tell you this.
Clean up your home.
I'm not cleaning up my home for an extra $9. I'm doing it because I have to live there. And guess what? Rent is expensive. So I'm already paying a pretty penny to live there. You want to take care of what you've earned. And if you learn those values at a young age, they'll carry well into adulthood. We had Melissa from Camp Verde earlier say, my 4 kids, and I'm one of 4, do not get paid to do chores. I want to teach them responsibility. When they're grown up, they are not going to be able to get paid to do their own housework. So again, the same arguments being made. So it's interesting.
I never got paid to do that.
Housework.
They made me do all kinds of housework. And when I became an adult, I became a slob. I was a slob, so it didn't work. It wasn't like,
See, everybody's different.
Everybody is different.
Yeah.
There's no formula. Whether you pay them or don't pay them or make them do it or don't, they're going to make up their own mind. So
Edgar says, I give them a roof, food, water, and Wi-Fi. That's true. So then I guess that is like paying them to do their chores, right? Because you're taking care of all that for them.
That's what I'm saying. And if your kids are in activities, you're paying for that. And you're paying. So, I mean, they should be able to help out around the house at least once a week. You have a day when the whole family gets together and cleans house without any other incentive.
I got a buddy of mine, he's got stepkids, and he's out there, fixing stuff, sweeping the sidewalks and trimming bushes in the weekends. And I said, what are they doing? They're inside doing nothing. Why? Well, Mom says they get good grades, so they don't have to go work.
No.
Wrong.
You know what I think would be a good option
too?
too?
Rewarded for just being good.
Work.
Like maybe if you don't want to give this is my opinion when I was thinking about it growing up, like there was chores that I had to do every week, like wash the dishes, sweep the house, right? But if there was something extra they wanted me to do that they needed help with, then they would be like, okay, if you do this, I'll give you $5 or $10. If something out of my normal chores list.
You kind of have additional, and that's just it.
Yeah.
Like if you have like the standard that you do as part of being raised, and then on top of that, maybe.
Like instead they're like, fold your laundry.
Here's the mistake.
Make your bed. That you should not be getting an allowance to make your bed.
Folding laundry's hard now though. I don't even like doing it as an adult.
I hate it too.
I try to throw it on the dryer.
Hang everything.
Yeah.
Ugh.
My generation made a big mistake, a lot of us, not all of us, but we believed, because we were worked so hard.
Yeah.
Because all my parents were from the Depression, so they made me do the lawn, all the stuff you're talking about. So my generation said, if my kid gets good grades, plays sports, stays out of trouble, he can have more fun than I had. And so we eased up on the hard work, the chores, because they were getting good grades. And we really did them a disservice. They become privileged. And then they get to the real world and they freak out when they get their first job, and the guy's like, take out the trash.
And
what?
they're like, wait, I never do that.
Yeah, you got to do it or you're fired. And they got to go through that. My son had to get like 3 or 4 jobs before he got it.
Oh my gosh. And then even when you get those jobs, guess what? It ain't pretty because you're cleaning out, grease-filled burger, grills, and then the garbage like
and
you
said. Sweating, you're hot
and,
as can
and
be.
It's hot and you have a hairnet on. It's not pleasant.
And then your friends come walking in and you're like,
your friends come walking in and you're like,
I had the Burger King hat on, the Burger King suit.
Stop it.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I worked at Sonic Burger and it was a great job. Like I loved it. It was my junior year of high school after I had worked at Einstein Bagels. So I did the roller skates in the car hop with the big poodle skirt and everything.
Really?
And my friends and people from high school.
Adorable.
Oh my gosh, it was the best. The little white bow.
Oh.
The best. And friends from high school would always come during happy hour because they do the big 44-ounce cherry limeades for like 80 cents. So I'm like skating out and I got these like 44 ounces and I start to lose my balance and I just eat it. I eat it right in front of all these people that I go to high school with.
That is so embarrassing.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I was horrified. That's the only time I ever felt. And of course it was in front of people that I knew. But it's like, you're not going to stay home while you're 17 years old and get paid to take out the garbage. You got to start working. You got to get a job. And you can do so at, even 15 now.
Okay, here's an even better thing that's going on. What's the minimum wage now?
I think it's 13.
$13? When I was
making
a kid,
$7.
Oh, I think I was making $2.35.
Oh,
so
yeah.
get this,
That's
the kids this day still have the same cost of living. Don't let them talk you into stuff's more expensive. They have free rent. They have everything's paid for.
No grocery bills.
Get them out the door and make them get a job. That is a ton of money for zero cost of living.
I was at a stoplight the other day, a little too long, because I started thinking about my monthly income and then my monthly spending. And I thought to myself, I'm like, how much am I really pocketing every year after taxes, after it's all said and done? I mean, are these things that teenagers are constantly thinking about or consciously thinking about at some point or another?
No, because their parents are giving them tons of money.
Life is expensive.
It is expensive.
It's expensive.
Yeah.
And it only gets worse,
well,
even if you don't live a lavish lifestyle.
Our group, we'd give our kids money at the end of the week just because they were good kids. Here's $30. Go out. The dumbest thing we could do.
Thanks for being nice.
Here's what Carmen said, and I like this one. It said, I believe in allowances in certain situations. I give my kids allowance once a month if and only they help with my chores, not their chores. When they get good grades or do something out of kindness, they are rewarded with a good job or a movie night. Nothing for cleaning their room, nor folding or putting their laundry away. It's their responsibility to have things in order. Okay, so she does it, like I said, when they're doing something extra, she gives them money, but not doing it for their regular chores. Luis says, no, they get a roof over their head, clothes, and their back.
See, I don't really know if there's a wrong answer here. I think the only wrong answer is if your kids don't work. If you don't make them do stuff, that's the only thing. Well, you want to pay them, you don't want to pay them, you figure it out.
It's to each their own, and
make
how
them
they
work,
respond to whatever the rules of the house are. But
Yeah.
mom and dad or your guardians, spouses, you got to be on the same page when it comes to that stuff too, because you always sliding your kids some cash while your mom's like, no, you're not getting anything.
I've worked around a lot of successful people, you two included, and that's what I see. Just the same thing, that their parents made them work. They had responsibilities. They busted their butt. And the kids that didn't have the shock of their lives.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, my first job was at 15. I was working at it was like through a program though, like for teenagers, just to help, them get started, a head start. So we were at, it's now Auction Pavilion, but back then it was called something else. And so we had to clean up after the concerts. Like,
that's awesome.
The area.
That's great.
And then you're helping the community as a whole too, because you're out in a public venue, making it a better place.
You're learning to work with other people.
Right.
You're learning to answer to authority.
There was a perk though. We would find money.
Yes. Yeah. There's always a good perk.
You know what? There's always some sort of pro, to go with every seemingly con that you have to deal with. So that's cool. That's really good.
I unloaded a boxcar before. That takes a long time with 3 guys of cleaning supplies.
Oh,
a boxcar is about the size. A train boxcar is about the size of about 4 semi-trucks.
Oh my gosh.
And they paid us $20 a day. $20 a day, plus they bought us Blake's Lottaburger for lunch. So we thought that's just money,
and you're like, yes, we're getting lunch.
Great. And I wanted to get the big tissue boxes because they were lighter, because it was a cleaning supply company, or the big, because if you got the Comet, oh my gosh, a case of that stuff to walk all the way and walk that stuff back was really heavy.
Jimmy's taking it back with the Comet.
All
right, keep the comments
We do have a lot more, so yeah.
Keep them coming, but before we get to some more of the comments about whether or not your kids should get an allowance, we want to take you back to a piece of the show in case you missed it.
The struggle is real for these two poor teenagers. Their dad gave them 4 minutes to try and figure out how to use a rotary phone. Spoiler alert, they absolutely failed. Oh. Their major problem, they didn't realize they had to actually pick up the receiver and then dial. So we're asking, who's used a rotary phone? And do you remember how? I used to love using those phones for some reason.
Yeah, this is so great. Our parents had one in their bedroom.
Oh, they did?
So we would pretend to play on it. You know, you'd unplug it and play with it all the time. But yeah, I don't know.
I love doing the
yes, like going around. And then you hear it. The noise it makes.
Right.
I'm like, oh, let's do it again.
And do you guys remember when you first got your first cordless phone in the house?
Like, oh, I'm talking to you from my room.
Right.
Not from the kitchen counter. Like, Dad, get out of here.
And then your parents yell at you to get out of your room when you're on the phone so that they can listen to you.
No, the one before that. Remember the big phones and it had the little numbers? It'd go beep, beep, beep.
Yes.
Like it was a bigger one, you know? It, it was huge.
Brick.
And like plastic, a shiny plastic. And so I'd always like twirl the, the cord while you're talking on it, laying on the floor.
He's so cute.
Too cute. Oh, memories.
At my house, there was 9 kids. So you would, if the phone rang and you thought it was someone was maybe calling for you, you would race to get there before your little brother did and embarrassed you.
Oh my gosh.
Slim chances.
Oh, very slim.
It's too funny to think about.
That's so funny.
How far technology's come. And then they said that the new iPhone's already old because they have a newer one with a better camera and everything's always better.
Yeah, these young kids have no clue. Like, I'm glad that we're part of that generation that got the whole thing. Like, we had the cords phone, we had the cords on our phones, and we went with the
cordless.
And then we went with the cordless phone.
Answering machines.
Yeah, answering machines.
And then caller ID.
I always love to talk about when I used to come home and I couldn't wait to see if I had if that one girl,
left a message.
and there'd be like 3 beeps and it'd be like my jack wagon from, hey man, what's up? Call me when you get in. Beep.
And then we had pagers.
Oh yeah,
the
pagers. So our parents had those, and it was like, you better page me as soon as you get home from school.
Yeah.
See, I don't feel that. This is a good conversation today.
290-1100.
I don't feel quite as old now that you guys can relate to the stuff that I did. I think the next generation coming up is going to make.
They have no clue. Well, just like those kids.
You'll be closer to them. You'll be closer in age, but that'll be the one that they'll say, what's a cordless phone?
Well, like the kids, they had no clue. They're like, how do you work this rotary phone?
Yeah.
You know what? It's crazy.
They're like a couple of chimpanzees.
They're in the computer. The best is, or the worst thing I should say to ever happen was the unlimited plans, because I learned a very valuable lesson about money and phones all at the same time. So my grandma was nice enough. She said, oh, Rachel's responsible. She makes good grades. She's very, reliable. We'll get her a cell phone. It was back when it was like the little Nokia with the blue light.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I had a limited plan. It was 100 text messages sent and received. Okay. I blew through that, and it was 10 cents a message for every message. It cost me $150 that month, and I had to pay every red cent of it to my grandmother. Otherwise, they were going to take my phone.
That's responsibility.
Yeah. And you know how many times I did it again after that?
Zero.
None.
That's account. You got to stay on top of kids.
Screwed. And now, unlimited text messages. I mean, we had that crazy story.
That lady.
That lady that sent more than 50,000 text messages. Or I think it was 150,000.
Yeah,
well, the alleged stalker.
The alleged
that guy.
150,000 text messages. I mean,
allegedly.
My goodness.
Okay, that's when you need to find a different hobby or something else.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I hope they can start trying. I don't like unlimited. We're spending too much time on these stinking devices.
And if it were limited, you would make more phone calls and keep less of the BS out of your texting conversation. Probably far less
much time
pictures.
On stupid text to people.
Yeah.
And then when you say I got to go to the grocery store, then hey Vanessa, what's up?
And then you're like, emoji thumbs up. By the way, the emoji thumbs up is a telltale sign that the conversation is over.
That is a nice way of using the middle finger.
Yeah,
so don't ever do that to me. Like I'll tell some of my friends, just had the best day of my life, blah blah blah. I'm so happy. I mean,
or they're just like,
dude.
cool,
move on.
Whatever, move on. That's what that means.
One word.
Very insulting.
We have a lot of other people commenting. Renee said, I don't want my children believing that when they do good, they need to expect something in return.
Sure.
And it's crazy because other people are like, there was a few sad faces on her comment here. Like people are like, no, that's not good. Peggy said, kids have certain responsibilities as a member of the family. They might get a special allowance for doing something above and beyond. Okay. And then Craig said, our kids do not get allowance for doing chores around the house. They did chores because they live there. Starting in middle school, they had to come up with a budget for the year, including books, entertainment, clothing, etc. At the beginning of each month, we would put their monthly expense in their checking account. If they ran out before the end of the month and they wanted something, they had to wait to the next.
See, that's good. It teaches you how to save, be responsible.
Yeah, once again, I don't think there's a right or a wrong answer.
No.
The only thing that's wrong is not making your kid work.
There's a few people on here getting back to the phone conversation.
What'd they say?
The party line and listening to the neighbors.
Oh.
Remember when you could do like, what was it, star 69 to find out who had just called?
Oh, yes.
I know, or you prank call someone. The three-way call, brutal.
But star 67, you block.
And you can block. The three-way call was bad because I was on with a best friend and a boyfriend. And he's like, I love you. And then she calls him and he's like, no, you're the one.
What?
How dare you?
Oh.
No way.
We're sitting in the same room and I'm looking at her and she's looking at me and I'm like, all right.
You're like,
you
next.
can have him. Yeah.
That's when you wish you had Ariana Grande's song back then.
Take
Thank
him.
you.
Take
Technology has broken up so many relationships. But for the good, for the better, I think.
And how many technology devices have been broken because of
Oh my
because
gosh.
of those conversations?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Just I'm not going to even say anything. All right. Lorenzo said good morning. So good morning to you.
Good
Thanks
morning,
for everyone who
everyone.
chimed in. Virginia, everybody, Brianna, we appreciate you guys participating with us this morning.
Virginia said her dad put the timer on as soon as she got on the phone.
It'd be the old school ones too, huh? Like,
Yeah, the egg timer. All right, you guys, we'll see you in 4 minutes on NBC. We're going to do a quick cut in for you, and we appreciate you joining us. We'll see you tomorrow for Today in AZ.
Have a great Monday.
Thanks for joining us.
Don't wash your car.